Good morning, students. Yeah, in our yesterday's class, we have discussed the example programs on inheritance. Okay, different types of inheritance I have explained with the help of example programs. We have seen single inheritance, and we said basically we are going to derive only one single class from an existing base class. So this type of inheritance we discussed as single inheritance. Then we discussed multi-level inheritance. We said we are going to have a different derived classes at different levels in uh, multi-level inheritance. Okay, it is something like if you have a hierarchy of classes like A, B, C, D, where A class is going to act like your base class, and from that class we are deriving a derived class B, and from there we are going for C class and we are deriving the C class from a B class. So this type of hierarchy we discussed in multi-level inheritance. Then we practiced multiple inheritance, where a single class is going to be derived from multiple classes. Okay, so we are going to have multiple classes. Let us assume that we have A, B, C, likewise different classes, and from those classes we are deriving a new class with name D, and this D is going to have the properties of all the three classes A, B, C. So this type of inheritance we said multiple inheritance. Multiple inheritance. Then we have hierarchical inheritance. So the concept is very simple. If you reverse the multiple inheritance, you will get a hierarchical inheritance. So there we are going to have only one single base class, and from that base class we are going to derive multiple derived classes. So that type of inheritance we call it as hierarchical inheritance. Okay, finally we discussed hybrid inheritance. So if you merge any of the above four concepts, you will get hybrid inheritance. Okay, so like 2 days before, we had a feedback session with your HOD on Zoom meeting, and I got the feedback that many students they are unable to install the compiler and they are unable to run the C++ programs. So this is very important criterion as far as the programming is concerned. I told you many times, whenever you have any kind of complication or any kind of discrepancy in our understanding, immediately post a comment in the comment section. Definitely, I will give the response to those comments, and I will take the suitable action whenever it is possible. Okay, it is not only in terms of teaching. If you feel any kind of difficulty in the audio video quality of our online class, you can post even that one also. Okay, definitely we'll take suitable action to improve the online class quality. Okay, what I mean to say is don't wait for the feedback session. So whenever you have any kind of doubt, any kind of complication, immediately post that in the comment section. Hopefully you will do the same in our future classes. So I'm expecting the same. So anyhow, in today's class we'll be discussing how we are going to install, how we are going to download the uh, Dev CPP compiler from the internet, and how we are going to install it in our computer, and how we are going to compile and execute our programs. The concept is very simple. What we have to do is, yeah, visit the website to get the backup file or the download file for your compiler. So what we have to do from the internet, basically what we will do from the internet, we need to get the, okay, go to the internet and download your backup file. We call that file as backup file. So what we do, we visit the internet and we'll download the backup file. So you have to download the backup file for your installer, whatever it may be. If you are installing a Dev CPP compiler or normal C compiler or Java compiler, whatever you want to do, definitely you have to visit the internet and you have to download that backup file, suitable backup file. And then what we have to do, yeah, in your computer we have to install that backup. Install that installation. Already I think many of you are quite familiar with it, how we are going to install a particular application into a computer. I don't think we need to give a specific instructions over there. Just it is double clicking the in your Windows environment I am talking about. Just we have to go to the backup file and we have to double click that backup file and we have to follow the on screen instructions. Whatever instructions they are giving on the screen, simply we have to follow those instructions. It is just clicking on the next button. That's it. Okay. So after that, what we do, after installing the backup file into our computer, we have to open it. We have to open and write our program, isn't it? Open the application. Open the application. Open the application and write the program. After opening the application, basically what we do, we will write the program. Write the program. So after writing the program, what we do? Yes, after writing the program, the most important part, that is compilation, will compile our program, isn't it? Compile. So after compiling, so generally what will happen, whenever we compile our application, we will encounter two kind of things. The first thing is, if there are syntactical errors, if there are syntactical errors, okay, in this case we won't get any output. We won't get any output. So what we have to do, when you are getting the syntactical errors, immediately we have to go back. We have to go back to the writing session. We have to go back to the writing session, and there what we do means correct the errors. Here what we have to do, correct the errors. Generally we do. So basically syntactical errors, who will detect? Our compiler. Compiler will detect these errors. Syntactical errors, your compiler will detect and your compiler will list those errors for you. So immediately what we have to do, we have to correct the errors. Again, we have to go back to this stage, this writing the program stage, isn't it? So after writing, after correcting the errors, once again what we have to do, we have to compile. If the program is successfully compiled, what we get? We will get the output, isn't it? We will get the output. If the program is successfully compiled, we will get the output. Okay, if the program is successfully compiled means what we will get? We will get the output. So that I am writing over here. We will get the output. So even if the output is not accurate, if the output is not accurate, then what we have to do? Again, we have to go back and we have to look for logical errors. Logical errors. Yeah. Is your compiler responsible for detecting these logical errors? No, it is not responsible. Logical errors are some what we call human errors in the logic. So these type of logical errors your compiler will not detect. So what we have to do, we have to trace those errors by ourselves by entering into the writing the program stage. Entering into the writing the program stage. We have to enter over there and we have to look for those logical errors and we have to correct those logical errors. Again, compile the program and then get the output. We have to repeat these steps. Okay, we have to repeat these steps until we get the perfect output from the compiler. Until we get the perfect output from the compiler. So quickly I will show how we are going to perform these steps one by one. First, we'll go to the internet and we'll look for that backup file. So here, when we are when we are going to the internet, you have different options of selecting the compiler. We have different options, like we have your uh, Turbo C++ compiler, Turbo C++ compiler. This is one option, isn't it? This is one option. Maybe you might have seen when we have done our C programs in your lab, over there we have seen the blue screen compiler. That compiler is nothing but your Turbo C++ compiler. So in that same compiler, you can even write your C programs as well as C++ programs. Okay, just you have to include a different header file and you have to follow the namespace. That is the only difference between the C program and C++ program. Okay, and you have to write the program according to the C++ language. Clear? And the rest of the things like compiling the program and executing this program, all those things are very similar to your C program processing. How we are processing your C program, in that same way we are going to process the C++ program. But I suggest you not to use this Turbo CPP compiler or Turbo C++ compiler, because that is the traditional way of writing and executing the programs, isn't it? Maybe um, nowadays when we go to the industries, nowadays when we go to the IT sector, they are not using these type of compilers. They will use more like IDEs. We call them as IDEs. What is that? The second option is going with IDEs. IDE. That is nothing but this is IDE abbreviation, that is integrated integrated development development environment. IDE stands for integrated development environment. So these type of IDEs only we are going to use, and your Dev CPP is one such IDE. Dev CPP is one such IDE. Okay, the third option is we can only download the compiler. We are not going to download the editor. We will only download the compiler and we will write our C programs using the notepad. We write our C or C++ programs using the notepad. We are not going to use this approach nowadays because it is very complex approach, and it is completely dependent on the machine. That is the reason why we are not using this compiler, downloading only the compiler and using the notepad for editing the C programs or C++ programs, isn't it? So we'll not use this approach, but we will go with this IDE approach. What approach we use? This IDE approach. So in today's class also, I'm going to explain how you are going to download this IDE and how you are going to install this IDE, and how the environment is going to be when you are executing the programs, and how we write the C programs or C++ programs, and how we execute them using this Dev CPP compiler. Clear? So quickly, without much ado, without much wasting the time, we'll go to the browser window. So this application, I think it will be around 200 to 300 MB, not more than that. So you can easily download with your internet without wasting much of your data. So, okay, to download this application, just open any browser in your computer and open the Google website. Go to google.com and here you type Dev C++ download. Okay, just click on that first link. Click on any link and you can download your application from here. Okay, so if you once you download this backup file into your computer, you will get a file of size 50.4 MB, okay, into your computer. Generally this IDEs, they come up with different sizes on the internet. They are available on the internet in different sizes because as you know, an IDE in the sense we are going to have library files. Okay, so the more the library files, the more the backup size is going to be. But that is not our intention. We want the basic library files, okay, to execute our C++ programs. That is the reason why we are downloading the basic version of this Dev C++ from the internet. And the program what I have selected over here, it is having the minimal library files with it. So the files that we need to execute all our C++ programs, you are going to get in this backup file. So simply click on this link, go to this website and click on this link and download the Dev CPP backup into your computer. Okay, once the backup is there inside your computer, you have to go to that backup location. Okay, you have to find out where it got downloaded into your computer, and generally it will be downloaded into your downloads folder inside the documents folder. So search for this backup file where it got downloaded and go to that location and select that backup file and double click on it. So once you double click, what will happen? An installation window will get open, isn't it? An installation window will be opened. So on that installation window, you have to follow the on-screen instructions. Whatever instructions it is giving over there, simply follow those instructions. Unless you have a better knowledge on what type of compiler you are going to use, or where we are going to save our C++ programs, and the computer architecture of your computer device. If you don't have the knowledge, just don't change anything. Okay, by default whatever it is showing, put the same thing and simply click on next. Okay, so simply click on next, next, next until you get the finish button. So once you get the finish button, what does it mean? The installation is successfully completed. Okay, so simply click on that finish button and go to your desktop. So on the desktop, what will happen? A shortcut menu will get created. I mean, shortcut icon will get created, isn't it? A shortcut icon will get created. So just double click on that icon to open the Dev CPP environment or Dev CPP C++ compiler. So once you open, there you can write the programs and execute, compile, edit, correct the errors, all those things you can do over there. Double click on this one. So once you double click on this, okay, the IDE will get opened. So how the environment, when you are double clicking on this one, how the environment will look alike means simply like this. Clear? So once you have successfully installed the application, after double clicking on the icon on the desktop, you will get this kind of environment. So here what you have to do, simply go to that file menu. You have these menus over here. So in this menu bar, we have to select the file menu, go to the new tab and select the source file. So here in this particular notepad kind of editor, we are going to write our C++ programs. You can even write C programs over here. You can even execute your C programs over here. Okay, the difference is over there we are going to follow the different header files and different input output statements, and in C++ we are going to follow different header files and different input output statements. That is the only difference between these two. Okay, the editor, the compiler, and the what we call the IDE, we are going to use the same thing for both C and C++. What makes the difference means the header files and the input output statements. So quickly I'm going to write a simple C++ programs, as this is your first experience with this IDE environment. So in order to make you familiar with this environment, what I am doing, I'm writing a simple C++ program over here. So as usual, as we do in C program, so we have to write the include statement. First of all, we have to include the library files over here, that is IOStream. Okay, then you have to write a special statement, namespace, using namespace std. Okay, then we are going to write our main function. So next thing, yes, here in order to print something on your output screen, what we will do, cout of, yeah, write that statement like I'm trying to print hello world. Okay, at the end put the semicolon. Next is one more C out here. After that, ISL Engineering College. So like this. Put the semicolon, C out of. Okay, here CSE department. Like this. Like this, you can write three different statements on your yeah, basically these output statements. C out statement, what it will do, it will print the output on your output screen. So in the first line you will get hello world, and then you will get ISL Engineering College, then you will get CSC department. So basically, as we are not using any end line statements, either the escape sequence or the endl keyword, we are not using here. So what will happen, basically you will get this complete messages in a single line. These three messages you will get in a single line that we will see. So before compiling and executing, we have to save this program. So how come we save? We have three different procedures to save this application. I mean, save this program. You can click on this save button. That is procedure 1. You can click on this save button and you can give the file name over here. That is procedure 1. The second approach, you can go to this file, then click on this save. So like this also you can save your application. Save your program. Next is simply by clicking a keyboard shortcut, by typing a keyboard shortcut Control S. So here you have to give the program name that I'm giving as sample doc, sample doc dot cpp. Dot cpp is must because we are writing C++ programs, not C programs, isn't it? We are writing C++ programs, so that is the reason why we have to put dot cpp over here. Then click on save button. This will save your C program. Then what we have to do, after saving the program, go to execute menu. Here we have different menus. Go to execute menu and select the compile option. Compile option. The compilation is successful. As we don't have any errors in this program, the compilation is successful. So how the compiler will list the errors? I'm wantedly creating some errors, some problems in my program, just to see how the compiler is going to create the list of errors. So now I have two errors. Here I am missing the semicolon at the end of the statement, and at the end of the program I am not closing this curly bracket. So what will happen? Yeah, my compiler will list two errors. Again, after doing the editing, what you have to do, you have to save the program and go to the execute tab and select the compile option. So now as we have errors, as we have problems in my program, it is listing. The compiler is listing. As you can see over here, expected semicolon before cout. I have cout over here, and the program is expecting a semicolon before this cout. Semicolon where we have to put? Here we have to put. That semicolon is missing. That is the reason why it is creating the problem. So if I put the semicolon and save the program and execute, compile, again I have one more error, that is at the end of my program I am not keeping the closing parenthesis, that is closing curly bracket. So that is the error. So I have to put that closing curly bracket, closing brace. So now I don't have any errors in my program. So simply I can go and I can compile, and it will list no errors. It will list no errors, zero errors, zero warning, and the program is successfully compiled. Okay, so next is go to the execute menu and select a run option. This time to execute the program, what option we have to select? Run option you have to select. As you can see, the three messages, hello world, ISL Engineering College, CSC department, all three messages we are getting in a single line. So what to do in order to get these messages in different lines means we have to put special symbols in our message. So either I can use \n, that is escape sequence. We call it as escape sequence \n. Why we are using this \n means to get a new line in our output, isn't it? To get a new line in our output. So in this way we can get the output. And there is one more way through which you can get the new line, that is end L keyword. Yeah, you can even use this endl keyword to get the new line. So now what will happen? In one line you will get hello world, then you have the escape sequence \n, so the output will take new line. So in new line it will print ISL Engineering College. So again, after college, at the end we have endl symbol. So CSC department will come in your third line. So likewise you will get the output. So after these corrections, what I have to do? Again I have to save my program. So I am using the keyboard shortcut Control S. Now the program is saved. So next what I have to do? Go to the execute tab, select the compile option, or simply you can press the F9 key. Simply you can press the F9 key on your keyboard. So it will compile your program and it will show the list of errors. As I don't have any errors, it is simply showing 0 errors and 0 warnings. So the next thing, we have to run, execute. To execute the program, either you can go to this execute menu and select the run option, or you can simply press the F10 key. F9 for compilation and F10 for execution, as you can see over here. Compile, either you can select this option or you can even press F9 key. Run, either you can select this option or you can press F10 key. So I will press F10 key to execute my program. The program got executed and we are getting the output on the output screen. Yes, this is the output. You got hello world in one line, and then you got ISL Engineering College in second line, and then you got CSC department in the third line. And how we have terminated these out, I mean these lines, these messages means, here I have used \n and here I have used endl symbol. So in this way, you can type your program inside Dev CPP compiler or Dev C++ compiler. You can save the program, you can compile the program, and you can check for the errors, and you can execute the program without any problems. Okay, hopefully this helped you in understanding how we are going to execute and how we are going to get the output from C++ program. In our next class, we'll continue with the remaining topics, that is mostly from inheritance. Hopefully, you are following the subject, you are following the programs, you are executing the programs on day-to-day basis, because being a programming subject, DSA is very difficult to understand. If you don't practice anything in this subject, you will not get anything in this subject. So in order to make yourself, being a CSC student, being an IT professional, what you have to do, you have to be very perfect, very thorough in programming. So I suggest you all, always try to practice the programs immediately. Don't wait for any feedback session, don't wait for any faculty approach. You only post the doubts, you only post the comments in the video comments in your YouTube, or you can even post the messages to my personal number. Definitely I will give the response. Okay, so my intention is very clear. When I am delivering something over here, when I am teaching something in your online classes, it has to be delivered. It has to be delivered to the students. Your understanding is our primary motto. Okay, hopefully you will do the same in our next class, from our next class, and we'll discuss rest of the concepts in our next class. Okay, thank you students, thank you very much.